There are a lot of reasons you should, as an atheist parent, teach your children about Santa Claus. So let's talk about those reasons why it's okay that they believe in Santa. It's just harmless fun. It's a rite of passage for children that at some point, maybe when they're in kindergarten, a little younger than that, a little older than that, it's kind of fun to be able to share in this idea that Santa's coming to your house. And it doesn't even matter if you're Christian or not, because Santa Claus is for everybody, right? And I know a lot of Jews who celebrate Christmas too, for that reason. It's kind of fun to get in that spirit. And when all of their classmates are doing it, when all of them are talking about Santa, when all of them are writing up their lists of what they want and visiting Santa at the mall and getting their pictures taken on his lap, why deprive them of that? Let them have that fun, because it's not like, how often are we that happy as we are as when we're like 6 years old and we're running down those stairs for the first time? You're so excited. Why would you want to deprive children of that? Let them enjoy it. It's only going to last a few years anyway, so no big deal, right? Let them enjoy it, and at some point they'll grow out of it. If you're an atheist parent, then teaching your child about Santa Claus is basically giving them training wheels for when they learn about God. This is the most powerful argument, I think, for why you should have your kids learn about Santa Claus, because they're going to grow out of that one. At some point, everyone in their classroom goes from believing in Santa Claus to like a couple years later when nobody believes in Santa Claus and they know how it all works. And you know what? That's exactly, if you're an atheist parent, that's kind of what you hope your child does with religion too. At least a lot of atheist parents feel that way. So, teach them about Santa Claus and let them figure out for themselves, like, oh, wait, how come there's a Santa Claus at the store I'm at over here, but I know Santa Claus is also a few states away visiting people over there, and he's across town at that other location. Maybe there's something wrong with that. Or let them figure out, like, there is no mathematical possible way that Santa could visit all these houses in one night around the world and all over the place. And what if you're homeless and that Santa doesn't have a chimney to come down? What does he do then? And all of those types of questions, they're fantastic. They are critical questions. They are questions that they think of themselves, and they realize that all those things don't work out. And the whole facade of Santa just crumbles down. And by the way, kids are not necessarily disappointed when they figure out the truth. They feel smart when they learn the truth. And that's how you want your kids to feel when they figure out the truth about God too. Because for a lot of people, they never come out of that mode of thinking that God exists. A lot of people, if it's Santa Claus, by the time you're in like first or second grade, most of the people around you, your classmates, they figured it out. When it comes to God, you could go through high school, college, and beyond, and everyone around you still believes the lie. And so why not allow your kid to figure out the truth for themselves? Because you know what? At some point, they're going to make the connection that when you believe in a higher power who rewards you for being good, oh, that's kind of the exact same story, just for adults. God is Santa Claus for adults. And let's have them know how to ask the right questions and how to challenge people with the right questions. I think that's a valuable skill. Santa Claus is the first time they're going to learn how to, go against the grain and challenge a concept that all of their friends might believe. Unfortunately, some people don't realize that it works the same way when they're older with God. So give them those training wheels. Let them learn how to ask questions. Let them learn how to figure out the truth for themselves, because it's no fun to just teach a kid, hey, kid, God doesn't exist. You don't want to do that. That's not fun. That's indoctrination. Let the kids figure it out for themselves, but you can prime them with Santa Claus. And once they figure out the truth about that, those thoughts, those questions, they will translate to God at a later time. You should teach your kids about Santa Claus because it gives kids the opportunity to challenge their parents. This is one thing that some fundamentalist Christian households don't want you to do. You should always listen to what your parents have to say. You should always respect their authority, never question them. And yet when it comes to Santa Claus, here's an opportunity where a lot of parents tell their kids a lie that they know is a lie, that the parents know is a lie, like Santa's going to come down the chimney, you're going to get these presents, and you better let me know what you want Santa to bring you, and that way we can see if Santa will get it for you. And yet this is the first time maybe in a kid's life where they might be able to say to their parents, wait a minute, your handwriting and Santa's handwriting look pretty much the same. Or, if you're a really sneaky kid, Dad, I caught you coming down the staircase late at night when you thought I was sleeping. Why were you doing that? You know what? And those questions are good questions. They're not disrespecting you. They're not challenging your authority. They're basically saying, you know what? You told me this, but I know some more information now, and I want to push back a little bit. And that's what you want a child to be able to do. Santa Claus, that story is one of the first times they'll be able to do that. So by teaching them about Santa Claus and giving them the opportunity to ask questions about it, to figure out that, oh, you're telling them something, but you're kind of opening the door to let them throw some questions back your way. That's a wonderful thing. And you hope they do that in the future too, because, hey, adults make mistakes, parents make mistakes all the time. And how nice is it when your child says, Dad, Mom, I think you're doing this wrong. And if they can do it in a nice, respectful way, more power to them. I realize that's easier said than done, but let's give kids the opportunity to question their parents and to challenge their parents in a healthy, dialogue. That's a good value to teach your kids. You should teach your kids about Santa Claus because even though a lot of atheists may argue it's equivalent to teaching your kids about God, and if you're not going to indoctrinate them with religion, why indoctrinate them with the Santa version of the story of Christmas? But I don't think those are parallels. I don't think they are exactly the same thing. And the reason is, I know a lot of people who are traumatized by God, by the belief that God was watching them. If they touch themselves, they're going to hell. If they do the wrong thing, if they say the wrong thing, they're going to hell. If they question their faith, they're going to hell. I mean, they suffered so much trauma at the hands of their belief in God. And yet, I can't think of a single person who figured out the truth about Santa Claus and then, it was a bad thing for them. They felt powerful afterwards. So no one was traumatized when they learned about Santa. No one was, maybe you were upset for a little bit, but who holds that much resentment when they're older over the loss of Santa? You get over that one pretty quickly. So I don't get this idea that it's the same thing as indoctrination, or that it's the equivalent of fear, that, if you're teaching your kid that Santa's watching you when they're sleeping at night, it's the same thing as God watching you, throughout your life. Those to me are not the same kinds of things. If you, worst case scenario with Santa, you get a lump of coal in your stocking. Worst case scenario, if you do something bad with God, you're going to suffer and burn in hell for all of eternity. They're just not equivalent. So let's not equate the two. Those are very different concepts. It's okay to teach your kids about Santa, even if as atheists, you may not think it's fair to teach your kids about God. Now, if you are one of those atheists who think we should not teach children about Santa Claus, well, it turns out you may have a point as well. So if you want to learn some reasons why you should not teach your child about Santa Claus, click on this link right here and we will share some of those reasons with you as well. My name is Hemant Mehta and I write at friendlyatheist.com. Please leave your comments and thoughts below and we will check them out soon.